Hello friends, this is Hatim Rampurawala, and in this video we will revise illustrations of basically some of the illustrations of in AS 7. Okay, let's see. I would not be discussing all of them, but yeah, few of them we would be discussing. We will be directly starting with illustration number 6, that is on page number 107. That is over here. Where it is 107. I'm not getting. Wait a second. Where it is? Okay. Yeah. Illustration number 6. The firm invests in the 5-year bond of another company with a face value of 10 lakh rupees by paying 5 lakh rupees. So a company is invested 10 lakh rupees by paying 5 lakh rupees. The effective rate is 15%. The firm recognizes the proportionate interest income in its income through the throughout the period of bond. So the company is invested for the face lakh of 10 lakh by paying 5 lakh rupees. A tax rate is not the tax rate but the investment rate, that is interest on the bond income, is 15%. The firm recognizes the proportionate income interest income in a financial statement. Based on the above information, answer the following question: how the interest income will be treated in the cash flow statement during the period of the bond? It is an investing activity. So how it will be treated? That is, the interest income will be treated as an income over the period of the bond in the income statement. It will be treated as an income over the period of the bond. Over the period means over the period how much interest is received. Likewise, that is, interest income will be treated as an income over the period of bond in the income statement. However, there will be no cash flow in these years because no cash has been received. See, what they have given is exactly is a firm invest in 5-year bond of another company with a face value this much by paying this much. The effective rate is 15%. The firm recognizes the proportionate income in its income statement throughout the period. It is just recognizing the proportionate income throughout the period of bond, but it is not actually receiving. It is a deep discount bond, we can say. Like the company is invested 10 lakh rupees. On maturity the company will get the company is invested 5 lakh. The company will, on maturity the company will get 10 lakh, and over the period basically they are not getting the interest, but it is an effective. Wait a second. Okay. So the effective rate is 15. That is, it is just recognizing on, it is just a book entry of recognizing the interest income. So there won't be any impact on the cash flow. The interest income will be treated as an income over the period of the bond in the income statement. It will be treated as an income or in the income statement, that is in profit and loss account, but not in cash flow. However, there will no cash flow in this year because no cash has been received. On maturity, a receipt of 10 lakh will be classified as an investment activity, with the bifurcation of interest income and the money received on the redemption of the bond. Simply on redemption it will be classified as an investment activity, and that too will be, we will bifurcate into two parts, that is interest income and amount received on redemption. So we are done with this. Illustration 7. X Limited has paid an advance tax amounting to 5,30,000 during the current year. Out of the above tax paid, 30,000 is paid for the tax on the long term capital gain. So we'll segregate that, because long term this capital gain tax will be will show in investing activity, and negative balance in investing activity, and the other tax of 5 lakhs will be in operating tax, and it will be shown in operating expense. Wait a second. Operating activity, basically, sorry. So 5 lakh will be operating activity, will be shown in operating activity, and 30,000 will be shown in capital gain in investing activity, under which activity the above said tax classified in the cash flow statement. See, cash flow arising from the tax on the income should be classified as the cash flow from the operating activity unless they are specifically identified with the financing and investing. So unless it has been specifically identified as a financing or investing, it should be classified as an operating. In the instance case X Limited, the tax amount of 30,000 is specifically related to the investing activity. 5 lakh rupees should be shown under the operating, and 30,000 is to be shown under the investing activity. We'll move on to illustration 8, X Limited acquires 50 acquired and fixed asset of 10 acquired asset fixed assets of 10 lakh from Y by accepting the liability of 8 lakh rupees. So basically it has acquired asset of 10 by accepting the liability of 8 of Y Limited, and the balance is paid in cash. So only the outflow is 2 lakh rupees. How X Limited should will treat this item in the cash flow? So it has to show the investing activity of only 2 lakh rupees. Investing and the financing transaction do not require to be, wait a second, that do not require the use of the cash and the cash equivalent shall be excluded from the statement of the cash flow. Basically the investing of the financial activity, any of which does not require the outflow of the cash, will not be recorded in the cash flow statement. X Limited should classify the cash payment of 2 lakh, it has paid 2 lakh rupees in cash, it has to be classified the cash payment of 2 lakh rupees under the investing activity. The non-cash transaction liability and the non-cash transaction liability and the asset should be disclosed in the notes to the financial, it should be disclosed in the notes to the financial statement. See, the non-cash transaction assets and the liability and the asset should be disclosed in the financial statement, but it will not be shown in the cash flow. It has to be only disclosed in the financial statement. Okay, but if we will see, if in balance sheet we will record an asset of 10 lakh and we will record a liability of 8 lakh, we will record a liability of 8 lakh, we will not show net in the balance sheet, just it will be shown net in cash flow statement. That we have to keep in mind. Then we would be solving illustration number 9, and ninth would be our last illustration. Yeah, see, ninth, an entity has the bank balance, an entity has the bank balance in the foreign in the entity has the bank balance in the foreign currency aggregating to USD 100, equivalent to 4,500 at the beginning of the year. So it has 100 USD in the bank balance, 4,500 equivalent at the beginning of the year. Presuming no other transaction taking place, the entity reported the profit before tax of 100 on account of an exchange. It has reported a profit of 100, that is also on account of the exchange gain on bank balance in the foreign currency at the end of the year. What would be the closing cash and cash equivalent as per the balance sheet? So what would be the closing cash and cash equivalent? See, we had to deduct basically from the profit and loss account this transaction gain. See, profit before tax 100 less unrealized gain, because it is an unrealized gain, we'll deduct 100, and then the entire format, that is cash flow from operating, investing and financing. Net increase or decrease in the cash and cash equivalent will be 0. Opening balance of the cash was 4,500, cash and cash equivalent at the end is 4,500. Reconciliation, this is reconciliation of balance sheet. Basically the cash and cash equivalent as per the cash flow statement 4,500, unrealized gain we will add because it is an income, it is an gain but it is an unrealized gain, because in balance sheet the cash and cash equivalent will be shown as 4,600. See, in cash flow it will be shown as 4,500 only, and that gain will be deducted from the profit and loss account. Basically if there would be much more amounts as well, for instance the profit was 1,000, so we would be simply deducting that 100 rupees and we would be getting 900 as a balance in cash flow from operating activity. We would be getting 900 as a balance. Over here, since due to the limited information only they have said 100 rupees gain we have made, so profit is 100 less unrealized 100, so 0, and likewise the calculation it is. So we are done with this, and in balance sheet it will be 4,600 not 4,500. So from cash flow to balance sheet this reconciliation is, so as per cash flow it is 4,500, add 100 unrealized, so it will match with the balance sheet figure of 4,600. We are done with this. We would be doing now the illustration for test your knowledge, question number 2 and 3. We would not be doing first, we would be doing 2 and 3. Okay, from the above from the following summary cash account, prepare the cash flow statement for the year ended in accordance with Ind AS 7 using the direct method. See, direct method is not via profit and loss account. Direct method is proper cash receipt from the debtor cash payment made to the creditor, that will come, and not the not we will not start with the profit and loss account. So it is much simpler. Just first identify which all are the activity, operating activity, investing activity, or financing activity. We'll start with this debit side. See, opening cash balance will come at the end. Issue of the equity share, this is a financing activity. Issue receipt from the customer is an operating activity. Sale of a fixed assets, sale of fixed assets, it is an investing activity. Payment to the creditor, operating activity. Purchase of the fixed assets, investing activity. Overhead expenses, operating activity. Payroll expenses, payroll 100, operating activity. Tax payment, operating. Dividend, financing. See, this is dividend payment basically, as it has been on the credit side. It is dividend payment, so it is a financing. If it would have been debit side, dividend income, so we would have treated that as an investment activity, but over here it is a finance activity. Repayment of bank loan is a financial activity, and closing balance will come at the end. So we'll quickly go through the answer. See, we had first prepared, that is X Limited cash flow statement for the year ended 31st March 2001. Cash flow from operating activity, and cash receipt from the customer, cash payment to supplier negative, cash payment to employee negative, cash payment overheads 2200 negative, cash generated from operation is total 500. Of that, tax we had paid of 250, we had got a positive balance of 250. Then purchase of fixed asset negative, and sale of fixed asset 100, so 100 negative. And in financial activity, and dividend paid, bank loan repaid, and proceed of equity share 300 positive, so we'll get a negative 50. And likewise, increase or decrease, net figure is 100. Opening cash and cash equivalent is 50, and the closing cash and cash equivalent is 150. See, over here the closing cash and cash equivalent was 150, and it has been matched properly. And simply we'll do the last illustration, last test your knowledge. Z Limited has no foreign currency cash flow for year ended 31st March 2001. It holds some deposit in the bank in USA. It has hold some deposit in the bank in USA. The balance as on 31st March 2001 and 31st March 2002 were 1 lakh and 1 lakh 2000 respectively. The exchange rate as on 31st March 2001 was 4045, and as on 31st March 2 is 50. So opening was 45 rate, closing is 50 rate. Increase in the balance on account of interest credited. See, this increase in the balance from 1 lakh to 1 lakh 2 is on account of interest, so that $2000 is the interest basically. Then thus the deposit was reported at 45 lakh in the balance sheet as on 31st December 1. It was reported at 51 lakh in the balance sheet as on 31st December 2002. See, 45 lakh, how that 45 lakh came as on 31st December 2001 is 1 lakh into 45, and that 51 came by multiplying 1 lakh 2000 multiplied by 50. Okay, how this transaction should be presented for the year ended 31st March 2012 as per Ind AS 7. So what simply we will do is, see, profit and loss account should be credited by 1 lakh rupees, that is 2000, the interest income, multiply by the closing figure towards the interest income, because it has accrued at the end, so we'll multiply by 50. So 1 lakh is the interest income. It was credited by exchange difference of 1 lakh into 50 minus 45, that is 5 lakh rupees. It was credited by the exchange difference of this much. In preparing the cash flow statement, 5 lakh rupees exchange difference should be deducted from the profit before taxes. However, in order to reconcile the opening balance of the cash and cash equivalent with its closing balance, the exchange difference of 5 lakh should be added to the opening balance in the note. See, as we had saw in that last illustration, how to calculate is, this interest income of 1 lakh will be a profit, an item of profit and loss account, so that 1 lakh will be shown in profit and loss. That 5 lakh rupees will also is also a gain, unrealized gain, though it is unrealized, but it is a gain, and it will also be shown in the profit and loss account. So the entire 6 lakh rupees difference from 45 lakh rupees to 51 will be shown in the profit and loss account. 1 lakh as interest income, 5 lakh as the what we can say, exchange difference income. And what closing balance will be shown in the balance sheet is 51 lakh rupees only, not other, that is not at the opening balance will not show, but we'll multiply it at closing rate and we'll show at 51 lakh rupees. And what treatment will be in the cash flow is, we'll write the profit and loss account amount as per profit and loss before tax, and from that we will deduct 5 lakh rupees unrealized gain, and after deducting that we will arrive at operating and all. And but for the reconciliation with the balance sheet and cash flow, we will add that to the opening cash and cash equivalent. Okay, so we're done, and we'll just read the last paragraph. Cash flow arising from the transaction in the foreign currency shall be recorded in Z's functional currency by applying the foreign currency amount, the exchange rate between the functional currency and the foreign currency as at the cash flow. So it has to be recorded in the functional currency as at the date of the cash flow. See, cash flow arising from the transaction in the foreign currency shall be recorded in the Z's functional currency by applying the foreign currency amount, the exchange gain rate between the functional currency and the foreign currency. So it has to be recorded in functional currency, and the difference of functional currency and foreign currency, that is the rate, should be taken at the date of the cash flow. Okay, so we are done with this in days also. Thank you for watching the video.